Okay. So, with all of that being said, in a nutshell, you have a topic on your website that's called "How to Identify Your Ideal Romantic Partner."
Right.
Can we go into that?
Right. Well, I mean, what specifically? I think the first thing you got to know is who are you? Who are you? Right? Can you really look in the mirror and be naked and unafraid and not say, well, this person will accept me just the way I am. You got to be willing to, like, I got this drama, and for the right person, if the value proposition is there, I'm willing to change. And once you're true with yourself and you don't take yourself that seriously, and you divorce yourself from the way you were brought up. Like, I was brought up a certain way, but I had to realize my mom meant well when she poured all these things into me. But where did she get that information? She got that from her parents, who probably got that from their grandparents. And what we typically do generation to generation is, if I like this part of my upbringing, I'll keep that and transfer that to my kids. But the parts I didn't like, then I'll try to be like, well, my parents didn't spend a lot of time with me, so I'm going to make sure that I spend time with my kids. But it's the same chocolate cake with a different icing on it, right? So by first knowing who you are and what your triggers are, like for me, I'm a secure attachment style, but my secondary is dismissive. And being dismissive is worse than somebody hating you, because if I hate you, at least I feel some way about you. But if I dismiss, it's like you don't exist at all. Now, I know that about my personality. I'm not the most complimentary, and I'm an introvert. I can be ambivert sometimes when I have to be, but I know that about me. So if I meet a woman and I see that she always likes to be out in the streets and likes to be complimented all the time, you're beautiful, I'm probably not the one for her. Or she needs a lot of time, that's not going to be a good match for me, no matter how attracted I am to her. Knowing me, you just got to be able to pick your partner based upon who you are and your truth. Not that I'm willing to change, but I'm only going to go but so far. I only have I don't have the bandwidth but to move but so far. No matter how much I want to be complimentary and all that stuff, it's just not going to rise to the level of someone that needs that all the time. Right? So a woman with words of affirmation shouldn't date a dude that's kind of quiet and don't compliment, because you might love him and be attracted to him, and one day you hold out, well, one day he's going to compliment me more. He might not. He might not. You know what I mean? It's like you got to know who you dealing with, and he can maneuver like my person. There's nothing financially I can do for my person. She's there's nothing I can do for her. We are totally opposite. Like, this weekend, she was repairing the fence and pouring concrete in the foundation. She builds stuff. She lays floor. She does all that. Now, none of that has to do with femininity, because some people would say, well, that's not masculine. I mean, that's not feminine. She doesn't believe in getting nails and hair done. She saves her money and she invests in other people who are less fortunate than she. But the only thing I can give her that she can't get herself is when I write her a letter. If I write her a letter, because that comes out of me. I can go buy earrings or a dress or anything from anybody else, but when I write to you, you would think I bought her a Rolls Royce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not what we want these days. And when I say my person is my best friend, she don't get bent out of shape. She don't tell me who I can and can't talk to, where I can go, where I can't go. None of that, because she's my friend. And I could be naked and ashamed in front of her, because she ain't going to judge me and get caught up in her feelings because I didn't tell her she's pretty today. And if she wants something from me, she knows how to ask for it. Some people say, well, I shouldn't have to tell him. If he really loved me, he should just know. What? Like, how many people have I dated in my past? Like Lindsay. Lindsay didn't care about me opening the doors for her. Lindsay was very financially independent. Sometimes I would pay for stuff. Sometimes I didn't. Most of the time I didn't. But you know what I mean? So it's like, I've come from that. So I date somebody brand new and she's going to tell me, well, it's your responsibility to pay my bills. It's like, what? I had to negotiate opening doors for Lindsay because she was 17 years younger. And she was like, why do you feel you got to open doors for me? I'm capable. I'm like, well, I was raised that way. And the compromise was whenever we get dressed out and go somewhere nice, could I open the doors for you? Then will you allow me to? And she was like, yes. But that was a compromise. Older women would dismiss you if you don't open the doors or pay for them. You out. You out. But you got to ask, where did that come from? Like, why are you still doing that? You know? And so I just think the value proposition, like I said, if you know who you are and what pushes your buttons and you know you haven't mastered that, you don't need to be with anybody that's going to push your buttons because you're not going to master it in the heat of the moment. You're going to get good at telling them to kiss your behind.
Yeah. I think my main thing is like consideration. Like not necessarily opening the doors because I'm not going to wait at every door for you to open the door. But consideration is key. So like I grew up hearing that too. Like if you don't open the door, he don't like you like that. If y'all walking down the sidewalk and he's in front of you, he don't like you like that. And I kind of what I've reduced it to in my mind is just consideration. So like if I'm dating someone and they have like a big decision to make and don't consider me at all, you know what I mean? Or if like we're out and about walking and like you don't consider the fact that I'm like walking behind you, even though I am the woman in the situation, things like that. That's I think that's a part of the conditioning, but that's where as a younger person with an older mindset, I like to say, that consideration comes in because consideration is like the point of or the key of in love or in expressing how you feel about someone. It's you can tell how someone cares about you by how much they consider you, or at least that's what I grew up on.
Right.
But
right. That's a valid point. What do you think about it, Anitra?
I actually agree. I'm fortunate enough, I guess I'll say fortunate, to be into a situation where from day one, I came out of a relationship where the door was not being open for me. And when I got with my friend now, he opens doors, and it was like if I didn't let him, then if, if I didn't let him open the door, he would get out the car, tell me to get back in, open the door, and tell me to get out. So he insisted that he open the door. He insisted that he be the one to take out the trash. He insisted that he be the one to pump the gas. But he's old school. He's a little older than I am. So I grew up like that. My dad taught me that if a man is with you and he treads with you, he will do these things for you, not out of an obligation, but because he's being considerate and he's being protective of his woman.
Right. Okay. And it's fair. Like I said, the only issue that I take with that is we were all raised differently.
Mm-hmm.
And an example, because I'm good with examples. I had a client and her daughter had moved from college back home with her during the pandemic. And she was getting ready to go out with her boyfriend. And the boyfriend kind of pulled up and her daughter was like, hey, Mom, okay, Jeff is here. I'm getting ready to go out. And she's like, wait a minute, Jeff is where? And she was like, he's outside. He's getting ready to come get me. It's like, unless he gets out of that car and come ringing this doorbell and meet me, then he's not. And she was like, Dre, that's what I'm saying. I don't want my daughter to be with someone that's inconsiderate like that and blah, blah, blah. I raised her better than that. I'm like, well, Jeff ain't dating you. Jeff dating his daughter. Jeff's dating your daughter. Didn't she tell you Jeff is out there? How did she know? Because he texted her. If you want to meet Jeff, you can go outside his car with your phone and be like, you know what? I just wanted to see I'm so-and-so's mama. Let me take a picture of your license plate. I want to know who my daughter is going out with. Ha, ha, ha. But you sit up and expect him. You're going to tell her he's trash because he didn't walk to the door like it's 1945 or 1950 and knock on the door. And so it's like, what? She's like, well, I don't like it. I raised her better than that. I'm like, so you trust her. Trust her. You know what I mean? But if you want to meet him, that's the type of thing that I'm saying. We were raised one way and we try to put that Model T Ford on Highway 85. The Model T Ford makes a great showpiece. It makes a good car to drive around on the weekend, but you weren't supposed to put that thing on the highway because it ain't meant for that. I had another woman that stopped talking to a dude because he texted her. I don't like text messaging. He should just talk to me. Well, we got emojis. That's a full language now. You can make a full sentence with emojis and text messages. You sitting up there like sending up smoke signals. We ain't in that time anymore. But that's what I'm saying. That's the problem with old school and not really growing and gravitating. That's what makes relationships more difficult than they have to be, because you're not learning your person in their native environment, like going to the zoo. Yeah, the polar bear is cute, but you stick your fingers through the fence, he might bite them off. You got to know who you're dealing with without any type of romantic expectations about it. And you got to know the why. I'm going to ask you, what's your name? I know Anitra's name. What's your name, young lady?
My name is Kenny.
Okay, Kenny. So do you take any value of a man walking on the outside of the street, towards the cars, and you walking towards the inside?
Yes. Yes. That's like part of that consideration thing I was talking about.
Okay.
Just
Why?
to think about that.
Okay. Traditionally, where does that come from traditionally?
What I was taught.
Okay.
That's what I find.
All right. Now let's just say you're going out on a date. Anitra, you mentioned this with your guy. You walk up to the car, he opens the car door, and you sit down, and then what happens?
He closes the door, and I reach over and open his door.
Okay, I think you and I talked about that before, but a lot of women don't know that they're supposed to reach over and open the door for him. They'll just sit there and wait for him to open her door and then go around and open his door, because they don't understand the dating rituals. Like, I got your back and you got mine. Now, as far as walking on the other side of the street, the reason men did that, I challenge you to go to YouTube and watch videos of men being scared on dates. Men are a lot more scary than y'all think we are. Now check this out. The reason that a man walks on the opposite side where traffic is, maybe if a car comes by and splashes water on you, I might get hit with water first. It's not because I saw the car coming before you, because most women are more observant than men. But just think about it. In the 40s and 50s, when this was taught, where did the dogs most likely attack from? The yard.
The yard, yes.
Who's closer to the yard where the attacking dog is going to be? The woman walking near the street or the woman walking on the side near the house?
Definitely the one walking near the house.
Right. Now, this sounds all romantic. Oh, no, them jokers were scared. He might or might not protect you from that dog, but that dog was absolutely going to get you first.
Oh, gosh.
I give men too much credit. I'm thinking it's like a sex thing. You know what I'm saying? You don't want me to be accessible for somebody to just drive by.
That sounds cute. That's romantic. That sounds cute. But it's not grounded in truth.
Wow.
It's not grounded in truth. So there was this video. It's a trip now. This woman is carrying her baby and she has another child with her, and this raccoon attacks. The woman bends down and grabs the raccoon by the back of his neck and tells the other little girl to get in the house. And then she throws the raccoon away, and then she runs in the house with her baby. Same thing happens to her husband. This is sometime later. Raccoon attacks. The daddy threw the baby on the ground and ran in the house. But most women don't think that your guy's going to do that. And I'll ask, okay, he's supposed to provide and protect for you, but have you ever seen that Negro fight? Have you ever seen him fight? Okay, how big he is. Have you ever seen him fight?
I've seen my fights. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you got a body, you got a doggone bouncer or something. But I mean,
I kind of have a question.
Yeah,
because I'm receiving what you're saying, and if men are not romantically centered, they're not thinking about it. If they're not 9 times out of 10 protective, and they're scary, as you say, and if they're not like interested in what women are interested in when we're dating, I guess my question now is, what's the point of dating men? Like, what is now even the reason?
Well, I didn't go that extreme. There has to be a value proposition. A lot of people want this stuff up front. A guy takes you to Ruth's Chris restaurant that night. He wants you to pull your panties down and wrap your legs around them. That's the expectation. Just like a woman expects him to pay for the dinner. It's all about expectations. But it's like if you can get beyond that, there has to be a value proposition for me to want to do those things for you. It does not automatically happen. It doesn't. And we expect it to happen sooner than later. And the thing about it, we can fall into the trap. If you meet a guy that's pushing all your buttons traditionally that you were taught and you like him and he smell good, your emotions are going to get the best of you. And the problem comes when you like or dislike, because either one of those states, you're going to exaggerate who that person is. There's no value proposition. I'll do things. I don't mind paying anything for my woman once she's my woman or once I get to know her, but I'm not going to do it to a total stranger. Time and time again, like, why would I do that? The value proposition isn't there. So I think that women should date men, because at the end of the day, look, we need each other. We need each other. And if we have kids, they need to see both the masculine and feminine. That's the healthy part. It's neither one or the other. But I think it's these expectations that we're walking into relationships with, saying if you're a real man, you would. And most of the time, it's got something to do with money. It's got something to do with benefiting a woman. Now, check this out. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but if a man's job is to provide, protect, and perform, right? And a woman's duty is to support, love, and respect. Would y'all agree with those, traditionally speaking?
Yes.
Would you?
You don't have to.
Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we get together, and I'm doing those three things: providing, protecting, and performing for you. And then we break up or divorce. We already said that women divorce men more than men divorce women. All of those things you can be legally enforced. If I didn't want kids, I want to pay. You can put me on child support. If you had a certain lifestyle, you can hit me for spousal support. You can enforce those things on a man's side legally. You can't do that with women. You can't legalize a woman respecting you, having sex with you, treating you nice, support you. You can't. And some men are realizing, like, huh? Yeah, so some men are realizing, like, at the end of the day, like, wait a minute now. It's like, I can love you, but you can leave me and then leave with most of my stuff. And you want me to be your husband or show traits of being your husband before I'm married to you. Because some women would say, if I have to pay or if you don't open up the doors for me, you're not qualified to be my husband. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. So we need each other, to answer your question, I think, but we need to be mature, because maturity does not come with age. Emotional maturity doesn't. You have to realize I'm emotionally and socially immature. What can I do about that? And then you got to work on it. You got to work on it. And it's hard because y'all don't have to, because there's always going to be somebody trying to get what y'all got between your legs, and they're going to act in ways that are not most helpful for them or you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get your books.
And
so, go over the titles of your books again.
The first was "What's Your Date Number?" And I took a little stab at it. I'm like, okay, well, suppose if I say she's a 10, most of the time that deals with aesthetics, like outer beauty. But suppose that dealt with personality traits. Like number 1 could be avoid me at all costs, because this joke, I don't care how fine they are nothing but drama in your life, right? So it gave people like different personality traits, and that was kind of fun. But then I got stuck on cheat proof. That was the second one. And the third one was forensics of cheating, mindset of the unfaithful. And I co-wrote that with Terry DeRon. He's a social media influencer. on Instagram. And we decided to write that book because we're like, cheating is never going to go anywhere, but understanding the what and why. Because if he cheats on you, it doesn't have to be the end of that relationship. Now it's the end of that relationship as you knew it. But typically when you cheat on somebody, now you can be truthful. Like, I had to train myself, and this is going to be real counterintuitive, but here's how I trained myself. If I'm dating a woman and I walk in and she's having sex with another man, I see it. I actually see it. The first thing I'm going to do, because I rehearsed it in my mind over and over again, is say, bruh, I don't blame you. Look at her. Look at her. I don't blame you. I don't know what she told you. Maybe you didn't know about me, but I'm here. And then I'm going to say to my woman, I'll be back in an hour. And I'm leaving. There's nothing that could be said in that moment that's going to be productive. He could be scared. Somebody could end up dead. Nothing could be said. I have to leave. Of course I'm furious. There's no telling what I'm going to do within that hour. When I come back, the first thing I'm going to say is, Anitra, I know it's not your character just to jump out there and sleep with the first man that you see. So you've known him for a minute. How did I fail you? You have my undivided attention now. Maybe I wasn't here before, but you got my undivided attention. Please tell me. And you can't say, well, I've been told you time and time again. Now's not the time to do that. Now's the time. It's like, I'm vulnerable. I'm hearing you. Right? So then once she tells me, I'm going to do it immediately. Immediately. Because she's valued. She's not going to be my woman unless she's going through that process of elimination. And I arrived at the one that I think is best for me. So if I do that, everything in nature worth having, it's not on the surface. You want gold, you mine for gold. You want oil, you dig for oil. Nothing is on the surface. You don't get anything of value quickly. And I'm not saying making people jump through hoops, but I'm just saying, if she's my girl, she's valuable. I'm not going to give her up easy because she gave somebody else some coochie because she wanted a virgin when I met her. Somebody else done had the coochie before me. It ain't brand new, it's brand new to me, but it's old to somebody else. So the whole thing is, what to do now? If you cheat on me the second time, you need counseling. We don't need counseling. I fixed what you said was the problem. If you cheat again, I'm willing to work with you through counseling. The third time, I'm out. Third time, I'm out because I'm not a fool. And some people say, well, if you stay past the first time, you're a fool. No, because I picked my person properly. Wow. So cheat proof is good. I think that's good information because people just give up too quickly. You pick that nut, you should figure out what it is that you were picking. And if they're worthy of you saying yes to them, they're probably worth fighting for. Wow. And like right. So the ones after that was cheater, lover, liar, gigolo. And the one I'm writing right now is cheater, lover, liar, the craft. So yeah. Wow, you got a lot of real good information that I hope people actually take heed to, because we need to move past the old school and into this new school style of dating and relationships and getting to know each other. Anything else any other questions? I know you got a lot of questions going on. I can see them.
I'm just it's interesting to hear relationships from the male perspective. So I'm just processing. I did write down here. I saw on your website 2 secrets women should know about men.
Yeah, well, I would have to go back because I wrote that post for a minute. But one secret is we don't have it figured out like y'all think we do. Like some women would say, a real man would know where he's going and know what he wants. Not really. I might know what I want as far as a career. I might know what I want to eat for dinner. I might know what kind of car I want to drive, but I might be clueless when it comes to you. And I think women need to know that. Women need to know that most men are scary. Most women need to know that most men don't emotionally mature to the age of 43. It's like we just don't do it. It's like women, the Emotional maturation process starts with women for the most part at age 10. Give her 20 years of life. Now, I ain't going to say she won't mess up, but by the time she reaches 30, 31, you can have an emotionally mature woman. You can. Men or boys don't start that process to the age of 20. Give them that same 20, 21 years, that 41, 42. Now they get it. Now they get it. So what you wanted as a young woman in your 20s, or let's just say your early 30s, you might be able to find in the man 45, 50. Because the maturity is there. You ain't going to find it with somebody closer to your age. The emotional maturity part. Women need to know that, because y'all are just thinking because he's got a job, he's whatever, he should know how to treat me, he should be mature. And we don't get it. We're big babies. And I'm pretty sure y'all have dated men and you be like, gosh, you too old to act like that. Yeah, like a child. Yeah, we're emotionally childish until we reach our early 40s. I dare you to say that to a man, because he's going to say, I'm good, I'm a grown-ass man. Biologically, but not emotionally. You need to know that.
Yeah. So what's next for Dr. Blaylock?
Okay, to answer your question, what am I into now? I'm into helping people to master the mechanics of establishing healthy friendships first. Forget romance, forget boyfriend and girlfriend. And I'm heavily into camping now. I'm heavily into, glamping, I should say. Going out into the, let's call it wilderness, but just kind of going out with my tent and a carpet, an inflatable sofa and generator and shower, and just kind of disconnecting and getting out and doing stuff. And I think that's healthy too, because whenever I take people glamping with me, you disconnect from your phones. You really get in touch with nature. You still have a sense of comfort, but it's really disconnecting and learning new things about yourself. And once you do that and you go back, you're a more interesting person. You have more to offer than just sitting back waiting for somebody to do stuff for you and serve you all the time. So I'm heavily into that now.
Awesome. Yes. All right, so it's time for us to wrap up this session. But before we go, Dr. Blaylock, is there anything that you want to leave the listeners and the watchers with? Any final words?
Absolutely. It would be take time to really get to know you. Disconnect from thinking you're lonely and you need somebody, and really spend that time getting to know who you are, who your triggers are. Become a more interesting person so that when you date, you can be interesting. A lot of y'all are bored and you're boring. So just do things to become more interested. It's really more about you than it is anybody else.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. We enjoyed this talk. We got a lot to process here. It was great to talk with you. And everyone, we'll have to see you next time on Eyes Wide Open.
Bye, everybody.